Okay, fine. So recording is on. So guys, let's begin with the class. And one more important thing. So today's class is really, really important. Why? Because today we are going to cover sanitary and hygienic requirements. So this is one of the important topic. And also why this class is important, because we'll be doing the regulations. Although this regulation will cover in detail when we cover the rules and regulations, right? This is one of the topic in your syllabus. So rules and regulations will cover in detail. So we'll talk about this regulation in detail at that time. But today, from this regulation, we are gonna talk about Schedule 4. So guys, Schedule 4 is really, really important. And questions can be asked from this point, from this part. And also last year in the mains exam, so there was a direct question. I think I also mentioned it in our previous class. So as you all know that in the schedule 4 there are 5 parts, right? So there are important 5 parts in which the hygiene and sanitary practices which must be followed by, for example, in part 1, the hygiene and sanitary practices to be followed by petty food business operators. So about that it's given in detail. And in part 2, sanitary and hygienic requirements to be followed by licensed manufacturers, right? So today guys we'll cover these 2 parts. And also you will see the another 3 parts, these are just repetition, right? So just give it a reading once, and you are through. I mean there is nothing to memorize in this, because these are very, very basic. When I take you to that topic, so you will see, I mean these are the things which you even follow at your homes, right? When your mothers cook in the kitchen, so they follow all these norms which FSSAI has put in this document. So but I mean there are few additions and deletions, because anyway the food which is being manufactured it's being manufactured for the masses, right? I mean for large number of uh, consumers. So accordingly FSSAI has given certain guidelines. So today we'll talk about 2 parts. There are 5 parts as I mentioned in schedule 4, so I'll teach you 2 parts. So other 3 parts you can just go through it and you will find there's a, I mean, complete repetition, right? So now before moving to that part, so I'll just give you idea what this regulation is, because these regulations are very, very important. And don't worry, we are going to cover it in detail when we cover the rules and regulation part of the syllabus, right? So guys, if you see, so basically in this regulation, in all these regulations, like there are I think around 15 to 17 regulations if I'm not wrong, important regulations. So in all those regulations there would be, short titles and then definitions. So just go through these definitions. And also you need not to worry here about definitions, because all these definitions you would also cover in FSSAI Act. So you will see a lot of repetition in this examination. So guys, today what we are going to cover is we'll talk about the sanitary and hygienic requirements required by uh, food businesses who are applying for registration. So guys, FSSAI, whenever you I mean there are two major functions of FSSAI. One is to ensure safe and wholesome food to the masses, to the consumer. And second is all the food business operators, they are either registered with FSSAI or they have license of FSSAI. If any individual, if they want to start their business in relation to food, so they have to either register with FSSAI or they have to obtain license. So now here you need to understand who are the food business operators who need to take the registration only, and who are the food business operator who need to have a mandatory license. So I'll tell you all these things in detail, and then we'll go to our schedule 4, that is today's topic for sanitary and hygienic requirements, right? So guys, if you see, first point I have also highlighted it in our PDF. So petty food business operators. So guys, petty food business operators, if you see, these are nothing but these are the you can say the hawkers, or your stall holders, or for example you go and eat pani puri, or you go and eat pav bhaji from roadside vendors, right? or even small shops. I mean, they are not big businesses, they are just small shops who just, cook the meal, everyday meal, and they just sell it in the market. So these are the guys, these are known as petty food manufacturers. Right. So if you see who are petty food manufacturer, FSS has given a definition to them. So these are petty retailers, hawkers, itinerant vendors, temporary stall holders, or distributors of food. This is the basic definition, right? Who are petty food manufacturers. So these petty food manufacturers means they are small food sellers. And if you see the second point, their annual turnover does not exceed more than 12 lakhs. So their turnover, the annually, the money that they make by selling this food, it should not be more than 12 lakh. So if this condition is followed, then they fall under the category of petty food business operators. And in this case, they need not to apply for the license. They just need a registration here. So registration also, I'll show you in the following slides. Like there's a huge difference when you apply for a registration. So there's a huge difference. I mean, documentation is minimum. The fee which you have to pay is very, very minimum. And on contrary, when you apply for the license, the bigger food manufacturing units or bigger hotels, when they apply for the license, that time, documentation is complex, and fee which they have to pay to obtain the license is very, very high. So this we'll cover in detail in coming slides. So this is one of the condition. If you see 12 lakh, their annual turnover should not be more than 12 lakhs. And if you see, the second is, if that person or if that food business operator is dealing with milk and meat products, so it should not exceed 100 kg of meat or 100 liters of milk per day. I mean, if he's adhering to this quantity, so he falls into the category of petty food business operator. And also, if you see, if he has the handling and collection capacity of 500 liters milk per day, then he falls in this category. And again, if for example, if you would have seen, there are small slaughter shops, right, from where you buy poultry, fish, or even mutton. So if you see here, if any individual who is selling not more than 2 large animals, so large animal here would be mutton, so 10 small animals, and 50 poultry birds, so these all fall under the category of petty food business operator. So you need to remember these guys, these are very, very important. First of all, you need to remember this thing, the definition, who are petty food business operators. So this definition is very, very important. And then you need to remember these figures, the points which I have highlighted, you need to memorize this, because directly question would be asked from here, right? So last time there was a question, so it was from this section only, it was related to this second point which you can see. So directly 500 liter is the minimum quantity for the any FBO to register with the FSSAI. So this was a question which was asked. So directly a question from points 2 was asked. So guys, just remember these figures, very, very important, right? So then guys, coming next, so moving ahead, if you see, so this is basically the registration. So as I said, right, so as I said, these petty food business operator, they need not to obtain license, they just need to register with the FSSAI. So if you see, moving ahead, so guys, these today I'm not going to cover these points, because these we will cover when we discuss this regulation in detail. So this is basically the part of unit 1. So I'll cover all these details, and these are very, very basic things. Just if you even give a single reading, things would be clear. So guys, if you see, but I'll give you an idea today. So if you see registration of the petty food business operator, so in this case, when they register, so FSSAI or the state FDA, local state FDA, so they issue them the registration certificates or a photo ID card. And also guys, I want to clear a few things here. So whenever we talk about the food license, also it is not always the FSSAI who issues the license, because at the state level also there are FDAs. So when you talk about petty food business operators and small food business operators, so those are given a license or registration by state FDAs, not FSSAI. So whom does the FSSAI give license? We'll talk that in detail. So that is, it would be followed. So I'll let you know who are the bodies, who are the food business operator whom FSSAI issues license. FSSAI does not issue license to each and everyone. Remember this point, right? So if you see this petty food business operator, they need to register. When they register with the state FDA, I'll not use the word FSSAI here because again it might create a confusion for you guys. So if you see these guys, they get a registration certificate and a photo ID card. So they would get a particular photo ID card, so which they have to display it every time wherever they carry out the business, right? So whenever you next time, whenever you go to any to have any pani puri or pav bhaji, or I mean anything from street vendors. So make sure they have a registration certificate and also they have a photo ID card, which is always displayed on their the small shops that they have, or the hawkers on their cart, if they're selling the food on the cart or if they are selling the food in the van. So I mean they need to display this photo ID card issued by the their state FDA. It's a mandatory requirement. I hope it's clear. So small food vendors, they don't require license. They just need to register and they would be issued a registration certificate and a photo ID card. That's it. So now guys, if we talk about the licenses for the food business operators. So now license is given to the bigger food business operators. So who are these? So guys, again, today I am not going to discuss this in detail, but I'll give you a brief idea. So who are the FBOs, I mean food business operators, who are eligible for the license? So for obtaining the license, just a second, I'll go to next page. Yeah, these will cover in detail later on. Today, it's not the part of our topic. Yeah. So guys, yeah, so coming here directly, if you see, so now in this document, there are 4 schedules, important 4 schedules. So if you see the first schedule, so in this list of the food businesses falling under the purview of Central Licensing Authority. So guys, whenever there is word Central Licensing Authority, that means we are talking about FSSAI. So make this clear. So whenever the word Central Food Licensing Authority is used, so we are talking about FSSAI. So now if you see FSSAI, they would issue the license to these bigger players. So if you see the dairy unit, which has a milk chilling unit, and it has capacity of 50,000 liters of milk per day, up to 2,500 metric ton of milk solids per annum. So can you imagine? These are the bigger players. I mean, they operate in multiple states. They are not restricted to one state. For example, Amul, right? For example, Mother Dairy. So these are the brands which have to obtain the license from FSSAI directly, Central Licensing Authority, because they are operating in multiple states and the quantity of food they are handling, that is humongous, that is huge. So similarly, if you see, and guys, just make a point, you need to remember these figures because there is no way out. So you have to just remember this figure because directly a question would be asked 100%. I can vouch for that. A question would come from this. They would give you a figure. So you have to be very, very clear to whom the Central Licensing Authority issues the license. If they ask you, then you should be thorough with these figures. That is 50,000 per liter or 2,500 metric tons of milk solids per annum. So similarly, if you see the second point, vegetable oil processing unit. So if they have the capacity of 2 metric tons per day. So this is also, again, you have to remember the product name and you have to remember the quantity they handle. And similarly, if you see the slaughterhouses, now the animal number has increased to 50. Earlier you saw that for the petty food manufacturer, large animals just 2, right? Number 2, if they're handling, then they would be fallen under the category of small food petty food business operators, right? But now you see the number of animals is increasing. In case the slaughterhouses, 50, 150, 1,000 poultry birds. Similarly, meat processing unit, they have the capacity of processing 500 kg of meat up to 150 metric tons. So similarly, guys, all these 10 points, make sure you just memorize these points, because directly a question would be asked from here. So make sure from this schedule 1, remember all these points. There is no way out. And also these are very, very basic. I mean, also in our notes, if you see, we have given a table. We have given this in a table form. So I would recommend you guys to read this through a table that we have given in our notes, because here things would be a bit complicated, right? Because these are in sentence form. But in exam, when you have just 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes to answer a question, so you, these figures should be on your tips. So just memorize these points, or just make sure you remember these points from the table that we have given in our notes, right? And yeah, I mean, these are very basic things, basically, actually, and very easy to remember. And also, if you see 10th point, central government agencies like railway, airport, air, seaport, defense, all these bigger agencies, all these bigger bodies, they have to obtain the license from the FSSAI. Right? I hope, guys, it's clear till now. Just give me thumbs up in the comment section if things are clear. And also, I have given you what to read, what not to read, because this topic is really important. Right? Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for confirming. So now we'll move to the next part. So guys, you can skip this schedule too. So if you see, this is not important. Actually, if you see on your screen, this is just the application form for registration and renewal under the FSSAI Act. So this is not important. This is just for the, for the food business operators. But as an food safety officer, you need to you need to be aware what kind of forms are, present for applying for the registration, and under which schedule do they fall. So just remember this, nothing else, right? Just remember the schedule and the application form for registration, not for license. This is for registration, and it is in Form A. So Form B, if we move to Form B, so you will see Form B is majorly for the license, for obtaining the license. So see on your screen. So this is Form B. So application for license. So this is for bigger food business operators. The Form A of the Schedule 2 is for petty food business operator if they need to obtain the registration. But Form B of Schedule 2 is for the for obtaining the license. This is just an application form, nothing more than that. So if you see, the person who is applying, they can select from various categories, and they need to give the name, their business name, their PAN card, mobile number, all the details, I mean basic paperwork which our government requires, right? So yeah, I mean, just go through it. You need to just have an idea, right, under which schedule which forms are given, right? So that's it, nothing else, right? So moving ahead, yeah, these are all you need not to remember. These are just for your knowledge. Just remember the schedule. Then moving ahead, yes. So guys, now if you see, now it's annexure 2. So the forms and all, they are given in annexure 1. Now if you talk about annexure 2, again in this document, if you see in this, these are the just documents which need to be enclosed with the new application for license under state and central licensing authority. So guys, just give it a reading. Although it's not at all important from the examination point of view, but since tomorrow you are going to be joining as a food safety officer or technical officer, right? So you need to remember all the list of documents which might be required by an individual whenever they are applying for a license. Just remember this. I mean, just go through it. And these are very basic. For example, you are going and applying for a license, or for a passport. So accordingly, I mean, government have few guidelines for this food business operator. They need to give the list of the directors, their photo ID card, and the proof of their premises wherever they are gonna conduct the business. So these are all basic things. So just go through it, because examination point of view, this is not at all important. But yeah, I mean, tomorrow you are gonna be a FSSAI officer, so you need to know all these things. These are very basic, right? So coming to annexure 3. So guys, annexure 3, these are the conditions of the license. So before obtaining a license, if you would have seen, for the small business operator, there is very minimum documentation. Just they have to submit the Aadhaar card, or 2-3 more documents, that's it. But for the bigger businesses who want to obtain the license, for them the mechanism is bit complex, and they have to fulfill certain conditions as well. So again, here from examination point of view, this is not at all important. But yeah, I mean, as an officer, since tomorrow you are going to be joining into FSSAI, so you need to know all these things. So conditions of the license. So if you see, before applying for the license, all the food business operator, they should have, or they should fulfill basically all these requirements. So these are the conditions on which the license would be issued. So just go through it once. Don't read it. You need not to memorize it. Just go through it once. And moreover, when we cover this in detail, this document in detail, I'll just go through it once so that you have a better idea, right? So in this topic, guys, the major topic of interest for today's class would be Schedule 4. So again, if you see the Form C, in this the license format. So whenever FSSAI or state FDA issues a license, so this is the format in which the license is issued. I mean, again, there is no point. Just glance through it once. And again, this is the form for annual return. I mean, every licensed body, they have to file an annual return with the FSSAI. So this is the form D1. So in this format, they have to submit the annual return. So this is just glance through it. Don't memorize it. Just memorize just remember these form names: Form D2, Form D1. Form D2 is for half yearly return, and Form D1 was for annual return. So just, basic things you need to have knowledge, because tomorrow when you join as an officer, so you need to know all these things. I mean, you would never, would like to be, behave as a dumb person in front of your seniors, right? I mean, these are the basic things which FSSAI would expect when you join. They would expect from you that you know all these basic things, right? So again, there's another form E, form of guarantee. So we'll talk this in detail when guarantee needs to be given. So we'll talk this in detail later. So now, guys, again, yeah. So this is again important. From these questions would be asked, guys. So you need to, remember these figures, and not only from examination point of view, but also as a food safety officer. So if you see Schedule 3, so in Schedule 3, if you see the fee for registration for the small business operators, when they apply for the registration, for them the fee is just 100 rupees. They have to annually pay 100 rupees for registration as well as renewal. So again, if you see the fee of license issued by the Central Licensing Authority. So guys, here's the difference. If you see second point and if you see the third point, here the license is issued by Central Licensing Authority, that is FSSAI. And if you see the third point, license issued by State Licensing Authority. State means state FDAs. So if small business operators, they are applying, so they have to apply for the registration fee is just 100 rupees. And if you have to obtain the central license, so from the Central Licensing Authority, then the fee is 7,500. And if you have to obtain the license from the State Licensing Authority, then the fee would be 5,000, right? So similarly, guys, just keep these figures in mind, because yeah, I mean, there can be a question from this, and definitely there would be a question, mind you. Right. So similarly, if there is a 3-star hotel, so they have to pay 5,000 annual registration fee, license fee and renewal fee, right? And yeah, I mean, any other food business operator who does not fall in these categories, they have to pay 2,000 rupees for obtaining the license. And definitely, since you would have gone to colleges and, your offices, institutions, schools, so even those canteen guys, they have to apply for the license, and they pay 2,000 rupees every month to the state FDA. So each and every individual, whoever is selling food, they need to register with FSSAI, right? Or if they are bigger food sellers, so they need to have the license accordingly, either central license or the state license, right? So I hope it's clear, guys. Just give me thumbs up if things are clear. I just wanted to form a base so that we can start with our Schedule 4. Right? Okay, thank you guys, thank you for confirming. So now we'll talk about schedule 4. So this is really important, guys. And guys, also note one thing. So every day, since I have given you the basic, right? So just from tomorrow onwards, make sure you also go through this document. Just give it a reading, because things are very easy. If you would have seen, there are only few things which you need to remember. The other things you just need to give it a reading. And also make sure, whenever you go through these regulations, make it in a flow chart, right? Because things are step by step. If you read it tomorrow, so things would be given step by step. So make a small flow chart for all these things, right? So that it's easy for you to remember during the exam, and also on the last day of the exam when you are gonna do a revision, right? So guys, now we'll talk about schedule 4, most important. So if you see, general hygiene and sanitary practices to be followed by the FBOs, food business operators. So as you know, today's topic is cover the general hygiene and sanitation practices. So in this, I'll cover part 1 and part 2. So part 1, as I mentioned, so these are the hygiene and sanitary practices which must be followed by petty food business operator applying for registration. So petty food business operator, as I already told you the definition, who fall in this category. And definitely, as I told, they need only registration. They need not to apply for the license. And also, guys, now when I take you through all these points, you will see, I mean, these are very basic. Also, you would have even observed in your daily life, whenever you go and eat pav bhaji, or you go to idli store, right, medu vada store, dosa store, or I mean any street food vendor, right? So you would have seen, they majority of them follow these practices, right? And also small business operators, small, small bakery shops, or small restaurant. So they all follow these good practices, good handling practices, good manufacturing practices. So these sanitary and hygienic practices are nothing but, these are majorly, they come under the umbrella of good manufacturing practices and good handling practices. So now if you see, if we talk about the small FBOs who manufacture the food, or who process the food, or who handle the food. So if you see the first point, the premises shall be located in sanitary place and free from filthy surroundings. So guys, again, this is the part of sanitary, right? I mean, the surroundings, wherever there is a food manufacturing unit, so around that, the FBO, the food business operator, he has to make sure that there is no filthy surroundings, that the area around his restaurant should be clean, that, and it should have overall hygiene environment. The environment should be very hygienic, and it should be environmentally polluted area, it should not be an environmentally polluted area, it should be in a clean place, right? So if you see the second point, the premises to conduct food business for manufacturing should be adequate space. So the second point, it clearly mentions there should be an adequate space. For example, there is a bread making small factory, right? So in that small factory, there should be an adequate space. Why? Because if it's a cramped space, so there can be high chances of cross contamination. So now that is why FSSAI wants that there should be an adequate space for manufacturing and storage to maintain overall hygienic environment. So if there is a adequate space, even if the workers are moving around, even if raw materials are being moved across, so if there is a sufficient space for storage and manufacturing, the chances of cross contamination is really less, right? So third point, the premises shall be clean, lighted, ventilated, sufficient free space for movement. I mean, guys, see, these are very basic points. And now, not only here, if we talk about part 3, part 4, part 5, you will see these points get repeated. So even if you remember, these points, these are very basic points. So even if you remember part 1, part 2, and part 3, you need not to even go through part 4 and part 5, because these are just a repetition, right? So if you see for point 4, floor, ceiling, walls, they must be maintained in sound condition. I mean, the walls of the manufacturing unit, they should be clean. There should not be plaster hanging from the wall, because it can accidentally fall in the food, and it could cause a harm to the consumer. So FSSAI wants that the floor and wall and ceiling should be in sound condition. And if you see, even they have taken the even they have spoke about the flooring. So all these conditions must be fulfilled by these registration units. The FBOs who are applying for registration. And also, guys, whenever as a food safety officer you go for a visit, you have to ensure all these points. There would be a checklist given to all of you. Whenever you now these days, this uh, auditing as well as inspection, now it has become completely online. Now they no more give you papers and pen. Now a tablet would be given to you, so it would be, everything would take place online. So then you have to ensure, you would be given a tick mark, so you have to just check the box first. You have to check the first point, check a box, third point, fourth point. So similarly, a tablet would be given to you, and all the inspection would take place digitally, right? So if you see the floor shall be, it should be cleaned with effective disinfectant to keep the insects away, and there no spray should be done during the conduct of the business. Windows, door and other openings shall be fitted with net and screens, and it should be insect free. So these are very, very basics. I mean, there should be no opening, so that there is no entry for the insects or flies or rats inside the premises, because again these can cause harm to the food and ultimately harm to the consumer. So if you see the fifth point, continuous supply of potable water. Yes, guys. So potable water is very, very important, because FSSAI has clearly given the instruction. The water which must be used in the food, it should be from potable source. Potable means ever flowing source. It should not be from any pond which is stagnant, right? So stagnant water can be really, really harmful. In case you don't have the regular supply, then it should be stored in a proper condition, right? Seventh point, if you see, the equipment and the machinery when employed shall be of such design which permit easy cleaning. And guys, for example, if you visit a small bread making factory, you would have seen a lot of mixers, grinders. So FSSAI has given a guideline that all the equipment and machinery which must be used, it should be of such design which can be cleaned easily. It should not cause any hindrance, because cleaning after every preparation, after every batch, after every lot is very, very important. And if you see eighth point, no vessel, container or equipment the use of which is likely to cause metallic contamination. Yes, guys, do you remember we have talked about we spoke about copper and brass vessels which could cause contamination to our food, right? I taught this in our contamination class, food adulteration class. So this is the reason. So FSSAI has clearly given the guidelines here that the vessels or the equipments which are used, right, and which possibly which could cause metallic contamination, it should be taken care of, especially the copper and brass vessels. So this is the reason why FSSAI is given here. So guys, now try to link the previous classes with these current topics, right? So this I have already taught you. There is no brainer in this, and it's very, very easy, because these vessels, this could lead to cross contamination, metallic contamination, right? And again, I mean, equipment shall be kept clean, washed, dried properly, stacked at the end of the day, so that there is no growth of fungi, mold, right? So every day, after each and every day, the utensils must be cleaned, washed, dried, to avoid the growth of fungus and molds, right? And if you see 10th point, all equipment must be placed well away from the wall to a proper inspection. So these utensils, after washing, they should not be kept on the wall, hanging on the wall. They should be kept away from the wall, so that there can be proper inspection, right? Whenever a food safety officer goes for inspection, he should be able to inspect the whole premise properly. So this is the third point. And 11th point, if you see, there should be sufficient drainage. Yes, guys, this is important, drainage system, and shall be adequate provision for disposal of refuse. So guys, these drainage system and refuse is very, very important, because this could lead to cross contamination of food, right? So FSA is clearly given, and also as an officer, make sure when you go for a visit, you have to ensure all these guidelines are being met by these petty food business operators, right? 12th point, the workers working in the premises and preparation shall use clean aprons, hand gloves, and headwears. So guys, again, the food or the individual who are coming in direct contact with food, for example, workers who are working in the preparation of that food, they should wear clean apron, So now this comes under hygiene. So these all major points under sanitary. Now this is the hygiene, personal hygiene. So they should wear clean aprons, hand gloves, head wears. And yeah, guys, this is again important. Persons suffering from infectious disease, they should not be allowed to work at all. So if there is any infectious disease, they should not be allowed to come in contact, direct contact with the food. If you see here, FSA has clearly mentioned. And 14th point, all food handlers should keep their fingernails trimmed. See, guys, these are very, very basic. I mean, even if you just give it a read, and also these are very, very common, which even these things are even followed in your kitchen by even your mothers, right? So if you see, all food handlers must keep their nails trimmed, clean, wash their hands with soap or detergent after and before commencing the work, and every time they use the toilet, and they should not scratch their body parts, and hair shall be avoided from the food handling process. So guys, scratching the body parts, running your hands through the hairs, these are these are not at all appreciated by the FSSAI, because again these sources could lead to cross contamination of the food, and especially the food handler who is cooking the food, they should take all these points into consideration. So tomorrow, whenever you go for inspection, you have to observe how these food business operators, they are cooking the food. You have to ensure they are not following these practices. I mean, they should not scratch their body part, and you have to give them the guidelines, you have to guide them, right? 15th point, all food handlers should avoid wearing false nails and other jewelry which might fall into the food, and avoid touching their face and hairs. So guys, again, the person who is in direct contact with food, they should not wear the false nails. You would have seen, I mean, today a lot of girls, they put on false nails, right, on their natural nails. So these should be avoided whenever eating food. And also loose jewelry must be avoided, which might fall in the food, and again it could lead to contamination of the food. And also guys, eating, chewing, smoking, spitting, nose blowing shall be prohibited. I mean, there is no chance, no one should do this. I mean, whenever you go for inspection next time as a food safety officer, make sure no one is eating or chewing or smoking in the premises where the food is being cooked or handled or stored, right? And all articles that are stored or are intended for sale shall fit for the consumption and have proper cover or to avoid contamination. So guys, all the articles, once they are cooked, so they should be stored in a proper location, in a proper hygienic location, and they should be completely covered to avoid contamination. I mean, this is very, very basic, right? This even our mothers, they follow at home. So whenever the food is cooked, the food is then properly covered and stored in the refrigerator, right? So yeah, I mean, these are very, very basic. So if you just go through it also, I mean, I have taught you almost 17 to 18 points. I mean, at least I can say 90% of you can just repeat these points. I mean, these are very, very basic, right? So if you say the next point, the vehicle used to transport food must be maintained in a good repair and kept clean. So again, the vehicle which is used for transporting the food from the manufacturing unit, or uh, from the place where it's cooked to any other place, so it should be in a good repair and should be kept clean, because again, this could be another source of cross contamination. And again guys, if you link it, I taught in the I taught in the previous class that during the food supply chain, contamination can occur at any step during transportation, or when the food is brought from the farm, or when it is manufactured. So this is the reason why the vehicle in which the food is transported should be clean and kept in good repair. 90th point, guys, if you see, food while in transport in packaged form or in container shall maintain a required temperature. Yes guys, again, if you guys remember, I taught you about temperature abuse, right? So whenever there is a temperature abuse, the quality of the food goes down and it's not at all palatable, right? So that is why whenever the food is being transported, so that temperature, it should be maintained at a desired temperature. For example, if the milk is coming from Gujarat to Mumbai, right? So it has to cover almost say 300 to 400 kilometers, right? So during that traveling time, that milk should be stored at 5 degrees Celsius. That is why you would have seen that trucks in which the milk is transported, they have air conditions in them, right? So this is the reason why saving the food from the temperature abuse is very, very important. So FSSAI has given each and every guideline. And guys, also now keep observing these things. Whenever you go out to eat next time, make sure that you notice these things every day, because as an food safety officer, you should be very, very vigilant. I mean, these books can just give you knowledge, right? But when it comes to the practical, when you go to the ground, that is when you have to observe small, small things, right? So observing these things is very, very important. So now whenever you go next, make sure you observe these things, right? So 10th point, insecticide disinfectant shall be kept and stored separately and away from manufacturing storing unit. So guys, yeah, I mean, this is again a basic thing. All the insecticides which are used to kill the insects in the food premises, they must be stored separately. And again, when you see in detail, FSSAI has even given the, you know, FSSAI has asked food business operators to store these foods in separate containers of separate color, so that they are not confused with the food item, right? So yeah, I mean, these should be stored separately away from the manufacturing units, right? So guys, those were the conditions which were supposed to be followed by the petty food business operator, but who are involved in manufacturing. So now if you see, now we'll talk about the sanitary and hygienic requirements required by street food vendors and the units other than manufacturing units. So guys, again, it's a very, very basic, I mean, very, very basic. You would have seen this. So now here we'll talk about the food vendors. As I mentioned, your pani puri wala, your sev puri wala, and you know, all those the guys from whom you eat dosas, idlis, and I mean, whatever, right? All the street food basically. So make sure whenever you go next, the first point what it says is, and also you need to note this point. I mean, when you go to eat out tomorrow, so potential source of contamination like rubbish, wastewater, toilet facilities, open drains, and stray animals should be avoided. So these, the street food vendors, they must put their stall, or they must put their food vans away from all these things like rubbish, wastewater. If there is a toilet facility close by, if there is an open drain, they should avoid, you know, putting their stalls near this. Then coming to second point, the surface of the vending cart. Yes guys, these are something, you know, new for you. If you see, the surface of the vending cart which comes in contact with the food or the food storage utensils shall be built of the solid rust or corrosion resistant material and kept in clean and good condition. So guys, whenever you see next, whenever you see a food vendor cutting the onion for your, you know, your favorite dish, for example pav bhaji, so make sure uh, the surface on which they are cutting it, that is rust and corrosion free. Yes. Yes. So guys, these food vendors, street food vendors, they fall under the category of petty food business operator, right? Yes. So third point, the rubbish bin with cover shall be provided by food stall. So again, guys, the rubbish bin should be provided by, so that, you know, the food, the consumers, when they have to throw any waste, so it should be thrown in the rubbish bin only, not across or not around the vehicle, right? So fourth point, working surface of the vending cart shall be clean, hygiene, impermeable, and easy to clean, like stainless steel. So majorly the working surface on which they cook the food, on which they cut their vegetables, it should be made up of stainless steel and placed at least 60 to 70 meter from the ground. I mean, guys, see the level of detail FSSAI is given, right? It should be up at least 60 to 70%, 70 centimeter from the ground. So make sure when you go next, and make sure that you observe these points, right? So fifth, sale point, tables, ovings, bench, boxes shall be clean and tidy. I mean, whenever you go, you sit on the tables, right? You use their spoons, you use their plates, you use their glasses. So make sure these are clean and tidy. And cooking utensils and crockery shall be clean. Again, all the utensils which are used must be clean, and all the containers should be kept clean, washed, dried at the end of the business, so that no fungi or mold develops in that. And water, again, if you see, water should be potable. So whenever you eat pani puri next time, make sure that the guy is using potable source of water, not any stagnant source of water in your pani puri, right? So make sure all these points they are following. In case they are not following, guys, it is your duty to inform FSSAI or your state food authority. So you can even complain against them if they are not following these guidelines. right? So if you see the next point, transporting or drinking water. So you might be knowing, right? These guys are small food business operators, right? They carry their everyday food to certain location. So in case of water, whenever they're carrying the water, it should be properly covered and in a protected container. They should not just keep a utensil of water and they should walk like 5 kilometers with open without covering that water container. No, that's not the way. FSA has mentioned it should be in the transporting or drinking water should be in a proper container and it should be covered thoroughly. So then coming to the 10th word, cooking, storage and serving shall not be done in the utensils. Yes, again guys, to avoid the use of cadmium, lead, and non-food grade plastic. So make sure next time you don't eat in these type of containers if any small food vendor gives you, because these are really, really harmful, right? So lead could cause you metallic contamination, cadmium can cause you metallic contamination, right? So 10th point, utensils should be clean of debris. Again, I mean, it should be properly cleaned, and whenever, separate cloth must be used for cleaning the utensils, for cleaning the floor, for mopping the floor. So FSA has clearly given the instructions. So next time whenever you go, make sure you observe these things. And also if you see, the person cooking, handling or serving food should use hand gloves and aprons, and he shall wear headgear. So these are very, very important to avoid accidental contamination, right? So coming to the next point, removing dust and crumb from the plates and utensils shall be done using a separate cloth or wiper into dustbin. So guys, you would have seen, I mean, this is a general practice in India. What these food vendors, they do, whenever you have finished your food, they clean your table, the food that has fallen on the table, they clean it in the same plate in which you have eaten, right? Once you have done. But FSSAI says they should do it in the dustbin. They should carry a small dustbin and they should wipe all those crumbs or the leftovers in their dustbin, not in the plates. So make sure whenever you go next, you teach them. They might not be aware with these guidelines, but I mean, it's your duty, right? Tomorrow you're going to join FSSAI, so your duty starts once you are aware of these regulations given by FSSAI, right? So 13th point, the person suffering from infectious disease shall not be permitted to work. So whoever, if any food, uh, if the person who is handling food, if he is having any infectious disease, he should not be allowed to work in the, he should not come in direct contact with the food. And 14th point, all food handlers shall remain clean, wear washed clothes, keep their fingernail trimmed, clean, wash their hands with soap and detergent. So again, guys, this is just a repetition, right? As I told, there would be a lot of repetition in this topic. So again, this is again a repetition here. So all food handlers should avoid wearing loose items which might fall in the food, right? And also they should avoid scratching their head, scratching their face, scratching their hairs, because this might again lead to cross contamination. All articles that are stored shall be proper cover to avoid contamination. Again, I mean, again, this is a repetition. The food should be stored in a proper container. It should be properly covered to avoid any contamination, right? And yeah, food should be stored only in, if it's stored in plastic container, it should be food grade. Otherwise, food should always be stored in steel containers. And yeah, again, eating, chewing, smoking, spitting, nose blowing, these are strictly prohibited. So next time if you see any food vendor doing such things, you can just guide him politely, right? That this is not the right way in which he should handle the food, right? So these things are completely prohibited. So here the word prohibited is used. These are strictly banned, right? So now coming to the next point, food shall be prepared or cooked as per day's requirement. Yes, guys. So since these are small food vendors, right? So FSSA has asked them to avoid to cook food daily. They should not store food, because for example, if they don't have any refrigeration, right, and they give you the same food the next day, so it might, there is a chances that there might be bacterial growth or fungal growth in the food. So FSSAI asked them to cook food every day and serve it fresh to avoid any leftover. The 19th point, adequate number of racks shall be provided. Yeah, I mean, they should have proper racks in which they can store their raw food and, all those masalas, chilies, for all that stuff. right? So rubbish or garbage bin shall be provided with tight cover. So whenever you eat out, so make sure there are garbage bins which are properly covered, to prevent any cross contamination through flies. Again, vegetarian and non-vegetarian items shall be segregated. These food should be separately stored, and fridge should be cleaned at least once in a week. Yeah, this is again very very important whenever you join as a FSSAI officer. So you should make sure, you should also check the fridge, because it should be cleaned at least once in a week, because in fridge also a lot of contamination might occur. The temperature in the fridge should be maintained. I mean, it's very very basic, like 4 to 6 degree. The location of the vending unit should be in a place approved by the local authority and not blocking the traffic. So again, I mean, in bigger cities, you would have seen municipal corporations, they come and pick these, small food vendors who have put their stalls across the road. So they come and pick, because they are not allowed to put their stalls over there. So FSA has said that they should place their vending units only the places which are approved by the local authority, right? So guys, it's very very basic, right? I hope things are very very clear. I am trying to explain you it in a very very easy way, so dude, you can remember all things. So that was all about part one. So I'll cover part two also. Part two also, you will see it's a complete repetition, right? So guys, give me thumbs up in the comment section if things are clear till now. Then I'll move to the part two. Okay, thank you guys, thank you for confirming. So guys, again, part two. I mean, there is no point actually, reading each and every point, because uh, again, it's a repetition, complete repetition. But now things would be little not complex, but more in detail, because those were the small food vendors, right? Now we're talking about the bigger food business operators. So now if you see part two, it covers the requirements on hygiene and sanitary practices to be followed by FBOs applying for license. The previous topics which we have covered, those were for the FBOs who were applying for registration. Now we'll talk about the practices, sanitary and hygienic practices, which must be followed by the FBO who are applying for license. So guys, if you see, now FSSAI has given a small heading, and then they have given few points. So if you see location and surroundings, so I'll just give you a brief. I'll not read each and every point, because I read each and every point in the previous slide, because I thought I'll just give you a gist of it. Now I'll just give you a brief. So location and surroundings. So guys, FSSAI has clearly mentioned, so these food business unit, wherever they are established, they should be established in a clean and hygienic place. There should be no there should be no any odor, fumes, or excessive soot, smoke, dust coming from the surrounding areas, right? And also there should be no cross contamination. There should be no direct access to the residential area, right? So again, if you talk about the layout and design, so again, they have talked about floor, ceiling, walls. They should be maintained in proper condition. There should be no hanging flakes of the paint which might contaminate the food. And if you see, door should be non-absorbent surface. They should not absorb any food or the oils that are released during cooking, right? And floor should be properly maintained. Floor should be sloped properly to make sure that the drainage goes in proper direction, right? Again, then windows and doors should be in a proper condition to avoid any entry of insect, pest, animals. Again, no person shall manufacture or store, expose, or sell to permit the food which is closer to any urinal or drain, or any foul or waste matter is found near that unit. And again, if you see equipment and container, again in this everyone should keep proper, use proper equipment. They should clean it at the end of the day, right? The design should be proper so that it can be easily cleaned. So I mean, this is just a repetition, and you will see there's a repetition, same repetition in part 3, part 4, part 5. So if you do this part 1 and part 2 also, I mean, you are done, guys. Just read thoroughly this part 1 and part 2. Part 3, 4, and 5, they are very very basic. right? This is just a repetition. So again, if you see, they are talking about the facilities. Again, water supply, potable water supply should be used, and water which should be used for washing and food handling, it should be safe, it should be separate. Water storage tank should be periodically cleaned. Non-potable water should not be used. So non-potable water pipe should have a separate color, and floor should be cleaned. Yeah, washing raw materials. Now here, since in big manufacturing unit, raw material is used on a larger scale, so raw material should be washed properly, right? And again, ice and steam should be from the separate water. They should be maintaining a separate, they should be made of a potable water only. Even if you're using ice or steam, it should be made from potable water. And again, drainage, proper drainage system to dispose the sewage waste, and waste storage shall be located in such a manner it does not contaminate the food process. Periodic disposed refusal should be made compulsory. It should not be stored in the factory. Again, if you see, again, this is a repetition. Personal hygiene, everyone should wear proper clothes. They should wear aprons, they should wear hand gloves. And again, number of toilets should be adequate for separate toilets for male and female. Then rest and refreshment room should be provided for the persons who are working in these units. And there should be a display board which mentions what should be done and what should not be done, do's and don't. And air quality and ventilation system should be proper lighting should be there, so that whoever is working in the establishment, right, the employees or workers, they operate in a hygienic manner, so proper lighting should be provided. Then if you see, food operation and control, so procurement of raw material must be procured only from the registered vendors, right? And also records must be maintained, how much kg of the raw material is being brought into the factory, how much is used, how much finished product goes out of the factory, right? Each and every detail should be recorded, what FSSAI wants. And also receiving temperature for high risk food, guys, your meat, milk, all this comes under high risk. They should be at 5 degree. And the frozen foods, for example, frozen meat or frozen vegetables, so they should be stored at minus 18 degrees Celsius. And cold storage facility should be there. So yeah, these are very very basic. Just give it a reading. There is no brainer. You need not to remember these things. These things would automatically come into your mind whenever you just give a single reading to this, right? So guys, the question which would be asked, so uh, hardly there would be a single question from this topic, because these are the very very basic things. But you cannot escape this topic, because you are not only doing this topic from an examination point of view. Tomorrow you are also gonna be an officer, right? So schedule 4, you just give it a reading. If any question comes from this, so you should be in position to answer that question, right? But the major questions would be asked from the topics which I told you in the beginning. So the amount of fee which must be paid by the licensing body, or the amount of fee that must be paid during registration. So those are the questions which from which the question might come, right? Fine. So again, guys, here they're talking about time and temperature control. Again, just give it a reading. Then since these bigger food business units, they have a packaging facility. So if you see, the packaging material shall be provided the proper protection. They should not be to prevent any cross contamination. They should not be kept directly on the floor. And packaging material shall not be any toxic. It should be completely non-toxic. Yeah, these are very very basic. Again, if you see, then then they're talking about the management and supervision. You can completely skip this. This is not at all important. Yeah, this is important, guys. Food testing facility. Each and every unit who has a license, they should have a food testing facility, because they need to test food, each and every sample. They should maintain a proper laboratory, in-house laboratory. They should test each and every food sample of raw material, sample of the finished good material. So they need to have a food testing facility. This is very very mandatory, right? And in case they don't have, they can also outsource it. They can, if anyone does not have the laboratory in house, they can go for the labs which are accredited by FSSAI. They can get the food tested from these labs. Yes. So yeah, again, guys, if you see, sanitation and maintenance of the establishment, it should be cleaned daily. And pest control should be done regularly. There should be no holes, drains, and other places where pests can gain access. So yeah, and again, they are talking about personal hygiene of the individual, right? Means they should wear proper clothes, they should wear proper aprons, and I mean, wash their hands daily before touching the food, after touching the food, right? And again, they have talking about the personal cleanliness. So yeah, I mean, just give it a reading. So that's it, guys. And also, they have also talking about visitors, because a lot of you would have gone on on a trip. Basically, your college would have taken on you on these trips, right, to these food factories. So there are certain guidelines that visitors, they should be discouraged. First of all, FSSAI said they should be discouraged from going inside where the food is being handled. But even if they are going, make sure that safety and hygiene does not get compromised, right, due to the visitors. So also they should wear proper clothing. Whenever any visitor comes, they should have wear protective clothing, footwear. Then they adhere to personal hygiene, which all is mentioned here, right? So again, yeah, then they're talking about the training, that all the food business operators who have the license, they should enroll one of their food handlers with the FSSAI, because FSSAI provides a training under the FOSTEC, right? That is known as food safety training certification. So every individual, so under whom there are another 25 food handlers working under him, so he should obtain a training from the FSSAI. So FSSAI conducts a training under FOSTEC, food safety and training certification. So we'll talk that in detail when we talk about the unit 1. So FSSAI wants that all these food business operator, they should send at least one individual for getting training for all these points, right? So guys, I hope it's clear. So that is all. That's all about today. So I mean, this is just a very very basic, and just give it a reading. And in case you have any doubt, I'm always available on WhatsApp, so you can WhatsApp me, right? So guys, I hope you enjoyed the lecture. So that's it for today. In case you have any doubt, just approach me, right? So thank you guys. Thank you so much. I mean, these topics are very, very basic. So I don't know who was saying that the examination is really hard. Exam is not at all hard, guys. This is just the basic things which you need to keep in mind, right? Fine. So guys, thank you so much. If you have any doubt, just approach me on WhatsApp. I'll definitely help you. And these are very, very basic. So just now after this, guys, there's part 3. So make sure tomorrow you read part 3. Again, if you see, there's just a repetition, sanitary requirements, and equipments, containers, personal hygiene. It's a complete repetition. So there is no point me talking about each and every point. You can just go through it. Similarly, part 3, part 4, part 5, right? So guys, thank you so much. Then I'll see you tomorrow in another class. So I hope you enjoyed the lecture. See you guys. Thank you.